Welcome to the Build with Boundaries podcast. My name is Manaz, and this podcast is for high achieving women looking to grow without sacrificing family and life. Discover what's missing and making you frustrated, and what's most important for you to achieve the success that you truly desire. All this without compromising the most important things in your life: your time, your family, your values, and your aspirations. So let's dive into today's topic.
Welcome back to another episode. And today we're talking about these 3 key moments when boundaries are absolutely essential because we need a form of protection, and we also need to feel empowered that we can move on from the situation we find ourselves in. And what I've found is that there are 3 specific times, and these are kind of, you could hopefully resonate with when those have happened in the past or perhaps where you're at just now. So the first one is when there's an obvious change in your life circumstances. So that can be things like, in your family, it might be to do with your children, it might be routines or different things that are going on that then therefore are having an impact on you. It could be other things with your loved ones, like parents. Maybe you're having to spend more time with your parents than you did before. Maybe they're older, there's more unexpected things happening where, you need to be there for them. That sort of thing. And also it could be your family financial situation. Like you might find that you are suddenly the main earner in the family. Maybe you are earning more than your husband or your partner. And that is a real responsibility. Like it feels like it's a change because, you are being the main provider. So that's the first moment I wanted to cover. Like it's really this change in situations in your life that are then having an impact, right? Because, when we look at boundaries, we need to look at it in this holistic view of what boundaries do for us in our life. And that involves what is personal to us and what is also like our professional life. So that's the first one I wanted to cover. The second one is perhaps slightly more obvious. And this is when there's a change in your business. And this is things like you might naturally find that things are changing in your business. You're reaching a level of success that you didn't have before. And therefore, you know that you have a lot more things that you need to protect. And, um, time being one of them as well. But just with having the change, your focus is going to, still be on your business and your family. But because there's a lot more change in your business, it will feel like you're taking that into your home life as well. And you might be working out like a new direction. Maybe maybe you call that pivoting, or if that's a word that resonates, then, maybe there's some slight tweak in terms of what you're doing because maybe you're not even aware what that needs to be because you're actually feeling like that change needs to take place. So you may be at any stage of that change period. It might be that you're looking for that change, or that change is actually happening quite naturally, but you're not quite there yet. You're still in this transitioning phase. And that's an important time as well, because it can feel like you're almost overloaded with even more things to think about, even more decisions to make, even more priorities, because everything feels very important. And in order for you to get across this bridge to the other side, You feel like there is a challenge in the way because there's a lot more things that need to get sorted out, somehow organized, so that you actually feel like you can manage then what is left at the end. Last but not least, this is perhaps the one that you may not have thought of. And it's when you're working away, you are managing your business and life, but something that you used to do just feels like it doesn't really sit that well anymore. It feels like it doesn't work like it used to. Perhaps you had a very structured routine. Perhaps you had a specific way of working, and you're just not feeling it, because what would have normally happened is that you would have just got on with it because that is what you had set your intention, right? You have this routine that has become a habit. But for some reason that's like unknown to you, it feels like that's actually quite difficult now, which feels very odd because it's actually a habit and you've been doing it for quite some time. So there's some kind of resistance there, and there's some level of friction that is making you um, feel like it's harder than it used to be. And those are all three of these times and situations are signs for us to take a moment and really acknowledge that there is something that we need to address. And in general, whenever we meet that, any kind of resistance, and you'll find there will be some sort of, as I'm calling it, friction between all of these three areas, because you feel this, you're torn between several things. You are feeling this inner kind of conflict inside that, is you're maybe having those questions of, well, what if I didn't have to do this? What if, this is adding more to my plate, and I've got too many things to do. And maybe time also feels like a massive pressure. So you might be feeling like there's this lack, and also that not enoughness, like you're not enough. There isn't enough time. The plans that you have just simply cannot fit nice and neat into your week or your month, because it just feels like they're so big. These moments are when boundaries are even more important. And of course, you will recognize, having got to this place, you recognize that boundaries are important, and you will have boundaries. Of course you will, because to achieve any level of success, you have to have some boundaries that are giving you, aiding you, and being a tool and helping you. But on the other side, there will be boundaries that you have probably never thought of or not needed. You actually never needed to think about it because they were fine. Like, it was not a worry. It was not a concern. Um, it really it wasn't needed. And now what you're finding is, through this period of all with sort of three types of changes that I've mentioned, you feel like there's something missing. There's something like you just might feel overwhelmed that how on earth you can manage all of this, how on earth you can give your focus to all of the things and the people that are in your life. And that is when it's even more important to protect ourselves. And when I say protect ourselves, it's protecting our energy, is protecting how we use our time, and is protecting effort that we put in, because we're putting a huge amount of effort into all of these areas. But sometimes we're too close to see the things that can or need to change, because it just feels like everything stops. When we stop doing that thing or helping others or focusing on the people in our life, whether that's clients or children or parents, then, nobody else can take that place. So it definitely feels like that, everything stops with us. If we stop, moving and making progress and doing the things that we're doing, then they just won't happen. And that can feel really hard because, we're one person. And of course, it would be easy to say, just delegate everything, but we don't want to delegate looking after our parents. We don't want to delegate caring for our children. There are some things that we just do not want. So it can feel this very difficult period where we just don't know what we need. And not knowing what we need is exactly the situation that that's when we need to understand ourselves even better. Like, we need to go through more layers of understanding what we really need. So if that has sparked your curiosity in terms of how we can even begin to remove some of these layers, uncover things that have actually been hidden, because there are layers, right? Anything we look at, and especially our own kind of inner work, there are always layers, and we will always find there's more things to uncover. And that this is exactly the sort of time when us going deeper inside is more important. Rather than looking outside for solutions, we need to actually get to know what we need. And in order for us to know that, sometimes we need a little bit of help. And that is absolutely fine, because sometimes we just cannot see things. So what I want to share with you is that I can pop the link to the playlist for the Human Design series. Human design is an absolutely amazing and fascinating tool which allows us to put a different lens on our glasses and look at ourselves from a really empowered place. And when we see ourselves in a different light, we can, everything changes. So much changes. So if you're thinking, you know yourself, then there's always more to uncover, because again, there's layers to us that we sometimes just have never ever seen. I mean, a lot of our being is unconsciously loving. So therefore, we're never going to tap into that. But there is so much that is even on a level that we can resonate with consciously. And by being intentional and focusing on who we are and understanding that, we can understand where we've come from, where we're going, and how to actually manage things and with the most ease. Because at the end of the day, we want to live a life where we are being fully present in the moments. We are feeling fulfilled inside. We let go of that stress and the resistance, and we have more ease. And that is exactly what human design helps us with. So if you are interested in checking that out, then do have a listen to the YouTube playlist I have. So pop onto my channel, Build With Boundaries, on YouTube, and you'll be able to see a human design playlist. And the reason it's important to watch it there is also because I share it on video, and I share my chart, and I share more insights, and you can get so much from that. So with that, I will leave you to reflect on which of those areas have happened to you or are you're currently going through, and feel free to reach out if you need any help with it. So take care, and talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Build With Boundaries podcast. I would like to invite you to a free mini human design session. Just go to buildwithboundaries.com/design and book a complimentary 15-minute session. Here I will share one area of your design to help you get some instant insights on an area that's affecting you. Plus, I will also send you a PDF of your chart so you can keep that for future human design episodes, and you can have a look at your chart as you listen. So that link again is buildwithboundaries.com/design. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode.